Welcome to Bella and I's studio and another Posca Monday. So I'm excited about this week because this week we get to mount a couple panels over here, up above there. Excited about that. The panels we did last week were of this alien, and the week before was of myself at the carnival, the Davison Carnival. Place of inspiration and an alien of the doubt. So when I start doubting myself, what I mean by that is I started having thoughts that, things like tracing or things of that nature were prohibited. They were a taboo, even, to use a stronger word. In that if you practice tracing anything, that you were deceiving others in some way. And if you really think about it, how I just said it, does that make any sense? Why would you be so worried about deceiving? Why is it even called that? Why would it even be called deceiving anybody? You're creating art. Back then, art brought me a lot of joy until I started thinking about things like tracing is taboo. If I have to do that, I'm not a good artist. Well, all that really did was keep me from creating the things that I wanted to create at that time. And if that would have taken tracing something, then, albeit, that's fine. So what I'm doing now as an adult is I'm going back and I'm drawing in a style that's reminiscent of what I like to draw like when I was young. It's a style that I'm not really particularly proficient in, comic book type stuff or concept type art, but I'm really enjoying the process. I'm learning a lot as I'm going. Some things turn out better than others, but it all tells a story, and that's the foundation of really what I'm doing here. I'm not here to wow anybody with my art skills or put myself above anybody in any way or put art in a category that it's unattainable. In fact, just the complete opposite. I'm telling you that if you're dealing with some of these thoughts that tracing is bad or you're not as good as you should be, or you're not where you should be. Those kinds of things along the way that I've experienced as a young adult or through my career or my journey of discovery, that it isn't fair. And hopefully you can learn that before it's too late or before it causes you a bunch of time. It's okay to be self-critical, but with guardrails. With guardrails. All right, let's get started on this. Bella just ate breakfast. She's sleepyhead. That's what she does. That's Bella. I've already got this frame set up to where we can just take it apart and work on it. So what I wanted to do first was just get them in here, just see sort of what we're looking at. That one is going to be about like that. This one's going to be a little different because I'm actually going to, when I cut it out, I'm going to have the head come out over the panel. So we'll see how that works out. But before we do any of that, let's go ahead and cut out the panels. That's what I'm really excited about. Getting them up to size, and all that. And then we'll come back to the actual frame and we'll draw in our frames, picture frames. That over there. What I like to use is this thing. It cuts straight. It's perfect for what we're doing here. So, the first things first, what I'd like to do is just take this stuff off. Take the tape off. It's been on here for a little while. I don't generally like to leave tape on this long because the longer you leave the tape on, obviously, the stickier the more it wants to stick to the surface. So, and I don't anticipate any issues with this, but if it happens in real time, well, you guys are going to see it. What I do is I like to pull it diagonally and away from the actual line. Smooth as butter, it's not any issue. And I just use this palette knife. There it is. It's a palette knife. Last week I was thinking, I was like, man, what is that thing called? And then, you know, sometimes things just escape me like that. Can't think of the name of it for whatever reason. And then a week later, I find it. You know, I find it again. It's like losing something and finding it. And then you get to rejoice with your friends, like I'm doing. I'm like, hey, I remember it. It's palette knife. Small victory, but victory nonetheless. Then I just pull, keeping it 45-degree angle away from the project, so I don't rip, you know, the paper. This is pretty heavy paper. I get it from Walmart. I don't have a link for this stuff, but they still sell it at Walmart. This is what it is. It's Canson, 9" by 12", 90 pound, and it holds this Posca marker really well. What I plan on doing after this is shooting it with a matte varnish. So before we go any further, usually I do this before all the videos and stuff, but I forgot to put my mic on. I'm gonna hop over here and grab my mic because I know the volume can fluctuate when I move farther away from the camera. So excuse me. And this mic is a really good mic, so I like using it. It's made by DJI. I like ecosystems. Coming from a coder background, I've been a coder all my life, but I've had that mindset most of my life, and that I like to work in systems and patterns, so I like to be organized, for lack of a better term, I guess. But when it comes to coding, it's all about systems and patterns, and it's the same thing. Just it's organizational skills. So, and what helps me be super organized is staying inside of an ecosystem that all works together. Like I use Apple. I mean, I'm not affiliated with that at all, but with Apple, and I don't have any links for it. But it's one of those things that I like to mention because it's absolutely detrimental to my workflow. And I just like to pass that off on to you guys in case this is something that you'd like to get into. I'm telling you, older people or people that have a craft or an art that they like to work in or storytell, should consider YouTube as a path. If the camera scares you, it scared me in the beginning. It was something I was apprehensive about. You'll get over it. Just do it. Just do it. I'm not sponsored by Nike either. So, but just do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay right on that line. So what I do is I come in here and I just get it lined up like so, to where it's right about there. And then make sure everything's level so we get a straight cut. And that's about right. I mean, I ain't gonna be mad at that. Same thing here. Just make sure it's lined up right there on the edge of that ruler. And this holds it all down, the project as you're cutting. I'll save those in case I need to use those. But what those are extra drawings of the cutout, so that you know, if I needed to do multiple passes on one, then I would. Some of these I have done that, like this first panel, I absolutely did. I drew that about 4 or 5 times. I've given copies of it to a dear neighbor that I have here, an elderly couple. He loves to draw, but his hands are not serving him so well anymore. So he gave up his passion of learning how to draw. So I like to give him stuff every once in a while. It's just be kind to your neighbor. Be kind to your neighbor. Who are our neighbors? What is considered a neighbor? Is it somebody that lives right next door to you? No, I think a neighbor has more meaning than that. I think a neighbor is somebody who's in need, needs your help. I believe those are our neighbors. Friend or foe. You don't even have to know the person. You don't even have to have ever seen the person. I am 2 for 2 here. I have a garbage can over there, and I'm hitting them. So, all right. I'm gonna get this alien out. I really like how this turned out. I like that little alien. But, let me look at this for a second. Just want to make sure I'm okay with it. So, we'll call it. I'm not going to worry about going over it there. And same thing. We could follow this around a little bit, because of how I taped it last time. And this wasn't on there as long as the other one. The other panel been on there for weeks. Or longer. 2 weeks now. That's right. Well, my days get mixed up. Yeah, it's just busy. A lot of stuff going on lately. Admin stuff, behind the scenes stuff. Getting onboarding done with different things that I want to be a part of. So I started a TikTok and an Instagram account. So I'm now on TikTok and Instagram. So when I post long form videos, I like to do a remix of the long form videos and pull shorts from it and post them to, post them here and then on YouTube, and then post them on Instagram and TikTok as well. So as I get more comfortable with creating content and moving a little easier, I tend to want to branch out a little bit and see what other options there are out there to tell my story. All right. Someday we'll talk a little more about that, but not today. So now with this, I think I want to be a little more careful and use a pair of scissors because I do want to keep that head intact. So these are really nice scissors. I don't use them for anything else. And someday when we're done with this project and as time goes on and days go by and months come and go and seasons change, I think what I'm going to do with this, and I've thought about this, but I'm going to make prints of each one of these panels. That way I could offer them for a finished art piece if people are interested in something like that. Since you guys have been on this journey with me and stuff, and you see what this story's about, and if it resonates with you, I'd be more than happy to make prints of this stuff and put it together and share that. In fact, I might do some of that locally as well. So I mean, there's places here that I could put my art up. Places like there's a bookshop, local bookshop. Downtown, called Oliver Books. I really like bookshops. I love libraries. I love museums. I'm gonna take you guys to the museum, our local museum here in town. So yeah, I don't want to see those panels. So if anything, I'll use them for something completely different. I have another frame just like this, and I can buy these readily from Walmart to do other projects. So for me, that's good. That's dynamite. Okay, now what we want to do is draw a frame on these. How I'm going to do that? Whoa! How I'm going to do that is I'm just going to prepare this and get this ready. like this, like I'm juggling, right? Bella waking up from her morning nap. And what her dad's doing. Actually, she knows what I'm doing by now. She gets it. She just likes to be around me. I love that. She's like the greatest company ever. So we're gonna draw some frames, some picture frames. Or we'll leave these here for right now. Let's just, yeah, we'll pull out a few. How about that? We'll just pull them all out. How about that? Since a few is just not enough. But I want to draw most of the frame with a bigger pen. Just because it doesn't need, there's no super fine detail. There might be in some of it, but for the preliminary part of it, just drawing it, it's not gonna need a small pen. Be careful with that. I actually already varnished that one, so it's all good. But these I'm not going to do that with just yet. I'm going to varnish the whole thing all at once. I've already came up with that idea. Okay, let's do these. I am going to use a ruler to make sure that I get some straightness here. So what we're going to do is that one's going right here. And then this one's going to go right here. Just get an idea. Take those off of there in case I need to be moving around a little bit. So let's do this first one first. Let's do it in black. Actually, let's do it in... I'm going to do this one in purple. This is going to be the carnival. Have ourselves a little bit of a bigger frame here. Right here, right next to it, we're gonna do a different frame. Let's do this one in orange. It's not firm. I don't need the ruler anymore. So now, I want to do, let's go with, let's see, break up the monotony. I'm thinking of colors I haven't used yet. So we're gonna go with brown with the orange. I'll turn it up on its side a little bit. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect, so. Just has to make sense. And stay in the theme. A lot of that part of it, well, a good part of that's going to be covered due to our alien's head, bulbous head. The bulbous head of the alien. Alright. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right back here with this orange. Should be good. Have ourselves a play with colors. Okay. Is that one I use? I'm going to use this one. This one. Actually, let's start with this one first. Since this had just a little bit longer to dry. This stuff actually dries fairly fast, so. I like that tint on accident. Completely unintentional. And really what I want to do is I want to come here and make sure I got the inside lip of that frame. Uses a good 3 colors of the frame. Makes it seem like it has some depth. Might even go with a 4th color on that one. Just a thought. And I think that 4th color will be yellow. Just because I'm not going to be punished too much if I hit that red with it. In fact, I might want to hit that red a little bit with it. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I get the inside of that lip real well. Alright, and then what I'll do is And then we'll come in with one of these finer blacks, like this. And I want to connect these corners just a little bit. Not like that. Point A to point B. Draw them straight lines. Practice that. Point A to point B. And do it in all kinds of uncomfortable positions. It's all good. And then what I'll do here is I'll just skiff. I don't necessarily want to trace that. I just want to hint there's some separation right there in those colors. I don't know, for me, you know, kind of like there's a little, oh, I don't know, little lip or an indention, like the frame's coming out at you. And not perfectly, by all means, but yeah. Because we don't want it to be perfect. That's not what we're going for. Nothing's perfect anyway. Especially in nature. You know what does a really good job at making something perfect, and that's AI. AI does a really good job at creating images. But the difference here, obviously, is that this is human made. This is made with a human's hands. You don't get that with AI. AI won't give you that. So there will always be a place for art in your heart, in everyone's heart. Because of its authenticity. We subconsciously we strive for imperfection. you know, we like imperfect things because it reminds us of growth and all the tangible things that remind us of life. Okay. Excuse me, girl. Sorry. There's a big picture. All right. So now, what I'd like to do is think about how I want to color in that space, you know, the void. I don't necessarily have to worry about it so much just yet. But, you know, it'd be nice. Sorry, I was looking at the camera. Sorry, guys. I'm going to swipe that up so that I can see where we're at on the screen. All right. So I think what I will do is I'll go ahead and draw a little something in that space. And I think a real neutral color for something like that would be like an off-white. Just you know, because what if I want to come back over this later with another color? And if you guys really want a good visual of that, you can zoom right in. I shoot in 4K, so in wide on my camera, so that'll allow you to zoom in with minimal resolution loss. Let's see, I can come right in with it. Just like that. It's not an overpowering color. It's not a color that's gonna keep me from going back over it. I kicked the can on a lot of different ways of doing this. I really like airbrush work, and I do have affinity or a heart for realism, like hyper realism, stuff like that. I love drawing in that style. So it's something I've always, since I was a young boy, that's what I've always strived for, was perfection like that. So it's a type that I like to study. So, and airbrushing is a fairly new medium to me. Color itself is a fairly new medium. I mean, I've been in color for a little while, but most of my life has been just graphite pencil drawing. You know, I've always been that way. I love graphite pencil drawings. I just do. They're simple, black and white. There's no color. There's nothing. There's no division. It's just, it is what it is. It's black and white. Come right down there on that like that. I'm digging it. I'm digging it color choice. All right. So, but I don't know. I'm thinking what I'm gonna want to do is come up here just, well, no, that's fine. Because the thing is these panels are gonna cover that a bit. Or at least this one will. But we'll get a hint of some color around these things. Just so we can feel more comfortable with where we're at. There's a lot of times just working in different areas like this on a drawing will inspire you about the next move. The next investment in your journey. The next place you want to invest time. Leave part of your heart behind. That's really what drawing and art is all about, is giving a little piece of your heart away. Every time you create something. Let's see if I can go. Yeah, baby. I made it again. I need to get a camera over there so you guys can see that. That's actually the next thing I want to do, is get another camera so I can have multiple angles and I can switch back and forth. I'm really enjoying the editing and the post-editing part. First thing I do when I'm editing is I get it down to where, well, the first time I ever edited some, I really tried to make it just look fancy and, what I would see when, as I was watching something, what I would want to see. Now it's more or less try to get it done, in a systematic way, so it's not so taxing on the creative side of me, because that's how you stay ahead. That's how you don't get burned out. You gotta do that. There's just things a creator will do, and then you'll find out, if you go this route, that will enable you to stay more comfortable in the creative process, because that's what you want to protect the most. You want to protect that. That's your life. That's what you're doing. That's what you're sharing. You don't want to be bogged down with a bunch of different things. So, all right, we're gonna let that marinate, and I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna post this one first. I keep going to that alien. It's the first one there. So we're gonna post this one first. How I'm going to do that. So I'm going to very carefully go like this. Now, I know which one to post it in because it's right here. I painted the inside of the lip, so I remember. And I need tape. Whenever you're working in your studio, always make sure you clean up after yourself. Put everything back exactly where you left it so that you know where to find it next time. I'm just going to get some tape going on here, right? So when I stick it, it stays. Like a that, like a so. Line it up. Oh, it's so much easier when you just cut it a little bigger. I'm just feeling for the lip, kind of seeing where we're at, so I'm not cutting a bunch of stuff off. That feels all right. Because we're going to lose part of the image, obviously, that we colored in due to the size of the opening here. I'm not going to go all out on taping this down because now that I know I might be pulling these back off and making prints of them, because that's going to be part of what I do with this channel. I want to grow. I want to grow my gallery, and I want to sell prints and originals and make stickers and sell stickers and do clothing and all kinds of stuff. I got all kinds of ideas, and that's going to be part of monetization. That's going to be part of how I support what I do, and hopefully make a living at it. So that I can, this is my way of contributing back to society, even after I was broken from my accident. And I feel repurposed in my own way. The state still had confidence in me and sent me back to school, and that's how I learned how to code. I spent 4 years coding. I started with an eBay business first off, so I've been hurt for 10 years. And I started first with an eBay business, and that was all right. It's definitely not sustainable because it's not. My passion wasn't there at first. It was, but then it wasn't my calling. Buying and selling stuff, and I just wasn't reaching anybody in the way that I felt I wanted to reach people, or tell stories in the way I wanted to tell stories. I'm an artist. I like to tell stories. I could do that all day. It's so fun. All right. Next, we're going to put our little alien in here. But to do this, I know what I'm going to have to do is make some cuts. So, like maybe just a little bit here. Not much. About like that. Maybe a little bit here. Okay, and then we're going to see where we're at with it. So we'll turn this around. So if I was coming in there like that, this would be about how it'd look. So what I want to do is I want to make this cut. This just feels weird to me coming from this way. Make sure I don't cut off my fingers. Okay, so we made that one a little bit farther so that it could come in this way, because right here, this is where I want to make sure that finger pops out over the thing a little bit. And this is good paper. I mean, it's almost like cardstock. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get it in there where I want it, and then I'll tape it. Well, we didn't need that anyway, actually. Oh, we're fighting the project here. Huh? Don't need to do that. Oh, like right there with it. There it is. There she goes. Okay, so what I'm going to do there is I'm just looking to see. Looks like we need to cut
head just a little bit more. I don't want to cut the head off. Okay. And then we'll go like this. And there she goes. That's perfect. That's about where I want it. All right. I'm okay with that. To me, that looks cool. I'm cool. Just a couple pieces of tape. We don't need to tape the whole thing. Right? Where are you guys watching from? What part of the world are you guys living in? Where are you guys at? And what's your weather like? I like to know those things. Here we're having some super warm weather. It's not cold. It's not hot. It's just right. But we do need some snow, because if it doesn't snow, we are going to be in for a drought. And that is never any fun. So on this frame, sort of a cheap frame, but has little tabs in the back, and I really don't want to keep bending those back and forth every time I put panels in here. So for now, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape to keep it from popping out. And then when we finalize it, we'll use the tabs. On this one, it was like that when I bought it, so it's not something I did. But there it is, you guys. That's what it's starting to look like, right? It's coming together a little bit. Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Now think about these panels over here as the week passes by. I might do another part of the city here. Like, this is a zoom in of a place in the city, and this is a zoom in of the aliens outside the city. So maybe right over here we'll have the other part of the city, like this part of the city over here in this panel, and then over here we'll have everything from over here to over here in this side of the panel. I think that'll look cool, but I'll think about it. So until next week, thank you guys for joining me, or joining Bella and me on our adventures here on Project Mondays. Just getting associated with this project and moving forward, and as it unfolds, it starts taking on a life of its own, and it starts telling a story, and it allows me to breathe, and it allows the art to breathe, which is just, it needs to happen that way for me. And I think for most people that are creating things, a lot of things aren't built overnight. A lot of artists, in the way they move through things, I don't like putting titles on things, but I'm going to call it that just so we can identify it with something. But the reason why a lot of us like to have several different projects going is just because that's the way we are. We get ideas and we want to start that project. The best way to handle that is to start setting a calendar. Put it on your calendar what you're going to do on certain days. Monday you're going to work on a certain project. Tuesday this or that. Wednesday this or that. So on and so forth. If you only like to draw once a month, or maybe 3 times a week, or maybe every day, those kinds of things, I would suggest at least every, a few times a week, practicing, just sketching, just doodling, to maintain and hone your craft, try new things, try different mediums, spread your wings. You're worth it. You're worth it. So, hope you guys enjoyed. And until next week, Bill and I say peace.